Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Thursday. It's August the 7th. It's probably going to be a short chart lesson today. I'm not feeling real good today. I think my trip has caught up with me, and then being so busy since I've been back, but I'm just a little under the weather today. I'm not 100%. I actually came in late today and figured I would probably have a slow day and probably wouldn't even reach my goal today coming in late, but when we got this nice sell-off, that pretty much changed that idea. So worked out okay. Still had a good trading day. It's about 1:30 as I'm doing the chart lesson, but I want to go through this pretty quickly. A lot of trades. I mean, a lot of really good trades, and but I'm gonna go through them fairly quickly and wrap this up pretty quick because I'm just not 100% today. Um, but here's what I saw today. Early on, we had this little up channel, clear midline, two-tiered channel, and um, if you were trading this early, notice your little trend line working down. And I've tried to tell you, make sure you draw your short-term trend channels and trend lines because they help keep you on the right side and keep you from entering too early, etc. Um, so make sure you draw those. But notice we got this coming out. You got a first entry, you pull back. You got a second entry here. And if you were here during that time and you took that trade, because really it's probably, this may be a little steeper here than what I've got it drawn. And you did have a, let me just check it on the other side. That's usually how I confirm it. And it does fit pretty well there. So you did have a close outside here and a move down to the second entry long there, but that was real early. If you were trading, great setup. I would have gone long there. But then when it pulls back, I don't like the signal bar here at all, but I still think with it bouncing off the trend line there and another failed attempt to go lower, I think you can go long there. I'd probably try to get in on this one with a limit order. I was not here, so I don't know if it would have backed up and filled it, but I like that trade if you can get in it with a limit order. And again, you pull back, you got your first entry long, you pull back, and you got a second entry long here. Again, not a great signal bar, so you really need to wait on this bar right here. When it broke higher than that, I would use a limit order again. And this one's a little bit aggressive because it was the first break, but it was the first break of the big channel, so you're looking for a new high. But I think an aggressive trader might have gone long there. But when it broke higher here and turned down, and then turned back up, it actually went below, I believe it did. Make sure I'm not telling you. It's hard to see that right there. See, it actually broke lower first and then turned and went out the top side. I would have, as soon as it broke higher, you might have even just used a stop order there, but I would have probably waited on it to break higher and then dropped a limit order a tick or two back. You would have got filled and you'd been out. But even if you use a stop, you had to ride that pull back a little bit, and then it went and made a new high, and then the trend reversed, just like you'd expect. And you can see that there. The trend line break, a couple legs up to a new high, and then everything reversed. And really from here on out, it looked a lot like a trading range. Looks very trading range-ish. But at the same time, you did have your, you had your break, your new high, and then you're working lower here. This was the first breakout. I don't like going short there, simply because it's into the EMA. It's, you've already had a pretty good move down. But then when it tries to go higher here again, I mean, you can see that's not rejection of prices right there. Prices are trying to work lower. So that's just a little two-legged pullback to the midline. And at that point, I thought this was the lower side of the channel, to be honest. But when it pulls back and tests that line and turns back down, it's a little two-legged correction. That's a second entry short. Notice the new low. First entry, pull back when it broke lower right there. Second entry. So I liked that trade. Looking for it to come down and test this low, and that's exactly where it went. And then it bounces. You might have even thought about getting long here, but I don't think you got enough evidence to trust that for a long. There's a failed second entry short here, So you might have thought about going along there, but I was looking at this line coming down across these lows here. Originally, I had it just a little bit lower like that, and that may be right. That looks pretty close to being equal. Um, so I just copied that line and drug it up. So the fact that we weren't back to it, I kind of like that one for a long. I went back and forth. I probably should make it green. It is a failed second entry short. Um, it was your first break of your little channel, so there's a lot of reasons to think. What I would have liked better if it would have broke below that bar and touched the bottom side or the midline, which it turns out to be, and then gone higher. But all the same, it's still a failed second entry short, so and it did work, so I like that one. The only problem is you didn't have much room here back to the before you scalped out, so it's a little bit aggressive. But you're looking for prices to come back up here anyway. Actually, I had that right there originally, and you can see it closed inside there and went a little higher. Um, and then you turn down right there. I don't like going short below that little um, doji all that much because sometimes it'll break lower and turn up one more time and then turn down. But when you got this big bar here, when it broke below that one, drop you a limit order in there. And even if you'd have went with a stop there, I think it still works. But this one I like waiting for it to break lower and then dropping a limit order, maybe a tick or two back in, and then you can get out before you get to the low. And then once it started stacking up here, there's too many overlapping bars. Somebody asked me about a second entry short right here. Just not a good place. Or actually, I think they saw that as a failed second entry short and they went long right there. And as bullish as that looks, you can't overlook this trend line working down through here. And this actually confirmed it, and it turned back down. So there was actually a better short here than anything else. I just don't like the setup. I think it's too much overlap. But if you went short right there, I like that better than going long right there. So in fact, I'll go ahead and make this one. I don't think either one of them, especially if you waited on that real bearish bar. Um, but you didn't have a whole lot of room left. Again, you probably want to use, when it broke lower, you got to use a limit order, and then you got plenty of room there. So, but I don't like going long or short into that mess right there. It's too many. Anytime you get three or more overlapping bars, and at least one of them is a doji, that's congestion. And all congestion is a smaller trading range. And we know what happens on a trading range. Prices usually break out and fail. And you can see that. They broke out there, failed, broke out the low side, failed, and went higher. And this was the first break of the channel, but the channel came back into play later in the day and held until now. So, but that's what I was looking at was this was the first break. So, and that's the first, come on. So I measured that leg when we started going lower again, right here, and I was looking for a measured move. We got you notice it bounced really pretty much right by there, but we got a little bit further move down, and then we've reversed, and now we're working down again. So, we could end up going lower today. But this is really a strong downtrend right here, so you got to be real careful about buying anything. But notice that little channel, the break, moved to a new high. Look at that. It broke higher first, then went out the bottom. I like going short on a stop right out the bottom of this little doji. But definitely when you got that bar, just put a stop under it and look at it go. And you don't know that it's going to do that, but when it does, man, that's a super trade. And then it backs up. You get a breakout pull back short right there. And again, you don't know that it's going to keep doing that. But you ought to be able to get a scalp out of it. That's the key. Just remember, all our trades are designed to get a minimum of a scalp. And when you get more than that, that's an extra benefit. And you can see pretty much was a measured move there. It went a little bit further, but of course it was looking for the lower side of the trend channel. And then you get the break. That's the first break, and that's a real bearish bar right there. I didn't like going short below that one, but this red bearish bar, again, because it didn't quite close on its low, I would have waited for it to break lower and then dropped a limit order in there, and then it just keeps on going and it bounces. And then you get, I treated this like a failed second entry long. Um, Notice that this, I treat this like a new swing high and then a pullback first entry. It didn't break higher. Um, it's actually two ways you could look at it. It looks like two legs down, but notice that first move up, pull back, and then second move up and it fails and turns back down. So it's like a failed second entry long, and this thing is really bearish, and there's plenty of room. And it's coming off, basically coming off of the midline as well, and another easy move down. It took it a minute to get through that area right there, but then it just drops right on down. And I had this area marked out. Let's see if we can find it. This has been kind of a area that's been acting as support and resistance. You can see it all across here. It's acted as support and resistance both. So I had that area marked off there, and we bounced off of it to the tick right there. And now you got your channel working up. You got your break. Move to it didn't quite make a new high, so it pulls back and then it tries to make a new high and then turns down right off the trend line. Look how bearish that is. Just go short one tick below that bar, and again, it's off to the races. And then now you've got your break and a couple of legs down. So I was real leery about taking a trade here for sure. But even this one I was leery about because we weren't quite back to what I was perceived to be the trend line. And maybe I don't have it drawn exactly right, but it's not a very good setup bar. So I didn't see. And your trend line could have been more like this, but I had mine drawn more like that. And we just didn't have a break of it yet. But when it comes back here and it can't get past that area again and turns back down, look how it went out the top first and turns. Just go short right there and look at it go. And then I didn't like anything. I don't think you can go long yet. This has been 2 weeks, so I'm real leery about anything long. There's no long setups here. There's a failed second entry short here, but look what you're going long into, the top of the little trading range. But when you got the break here and it broke lower and turned up and closed on this very high, you're looking for it to make a new high. So I like going, as an aggressive trader, I like going long right there. I would have liked it better if it would have went on through the top. Notice how it broke lower first and went up, and it couldn't get through the top. So that made me a little bit leery about marking it as straight up blue. Because you're looking for a reversal anyway, because you got your break and a couple legs down to a new low, but you've also got an overshoot now, and you got everything working higher, and you at least figure you'll get a new high here. So I like this trade. I wouldn't have gone long after the new high, and I don't think you could go short yet, but when it pulls back and turns down, it's real bearish again. I liked going short right there. It did pull back one more time, but then you got a failed second entry long, so definitely enter on that one. And you see we're still going lower. And it could work all the way down and retest that low again. You just don't know. So if you got any runners, hang on to them and manage them without keeping your stop too close, but without giving back your money. And that's what I saw today. Plenty of trades. You only needed 2 or 3 of these, 4 at the most, and there's a dozen of them, easy trades for the most part. So I also wanted to say this too, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way, but the idea behind our chart lessons is to show you the trade setups. I know we have new people coming in all the time, and they don't understand second entries. They don't understand the strategy that we're using. But the idea behind the chart lessons is not to teach the strategy. There's the manual, but even discounting the manual, there's plenty of videos and on both YouTube and the website that are free that, I've spent countless, hundreds of hours going over all that stuff, so it's all there. So it's up to you to go find it and to do the work that you need to do. So I don't mind, and then if you still have problems, send me an email. I'll be glad to help you. But I don't want to use the chart lesson to teach the strategies. It's just I don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the day to do that. So I hope that makes sense. And again, it's not because I want to sell you a manual or anything like that. You don't have to buy the manual. It helps, I do believe, but everything is there on the website in free articles and videos. And then there's hundreds and hundreds of videos here on YouTube where I've gone over all of this stuff time and time again. So I just don't want to spend a lot of time having to go back and go over the basics over and over and over again. Um, I want you to put in the time studying and watching those videos to learn that part yourself. And if there is something you're stuck on, feel free to send me an email. And I'll be glad to try to answer it for you. But again, the idea behind the chart lesson is for those people that are already studying the strategies and understanding it to be able to see the trades in real time. Uh, so I hope that makes sense. And again, don't take that the wrong way. I don't mind helping anybody at all. That's why I do this. But I don't want to spend a lot of time going back and going over the basics of the strategy because we just don't have the time to do that every day. This already takes up a lot of my time, and I just don't want to spend any more time with the basics because that's the part you need to be studying and learning on your own. So you got to put a lot of time and effort into this, just like I talked about yesterday. And so just be prepared for that. But I'm going to wrap it up. Again, I'm not feeling 100% today. I'm just a little bit under the weather. And so I'm going to wrap it up and go home early today and try to get some rest. And hopefully I'll be back 100% tomorrow. But if for some reason if there's no midday chart tomorrow, or there's no chart lesson by say 4 o'clock or so tomorrow, 5 o'clock, you'll know that I probably just still didn't feel real good, and I took an extra day off just to start my weekend early. But I am feeling a little better this afternoon. But this morning I was feeling pretty rough, so I didn't get in and start trading till late, and I'm just going to come in and try to take a few trades. But I feel a little better as the day's gone on, but I'm not 100% yet. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.